If you're a socially awkward dater, then this video is perfect for you because I'm going to break down 7 things that make you look weird on a first date. You might not even be aware that you're doing this. Some of these are subtle, some of these we don't think about, but I will make sure that you don't do it again after watching this video and that you come off as smooth and confident and, most importantly, yourself. I'm Jason Silver, the dating coach for ambitious women, and on my channel, Attract Great Guys, I reveal the truth about men and dating strategies that can help you to attract a great guy in your life. Don't forget to hit the red subscribe button and the little notification bell next to it so you don't miss any of my upcoming free trainings. Now let's jump right into it. Number 1, too much or too little eye contact. Now, eye contact is one of those things that shows the person that we are focused on them and that we're listening to them. So eye contact is really important. But if you maintain eye contact for too long, it just feels fake. It feels like you're not really thinking about what they're saying, because when we think, we tend to look around. When we think, we tend to look up or down. But you don't want to be looking all around throughout the entire conversation because you're missing that person. So if you could, for the most part, 70, 80% of the time, keep that eye contact as much as possible. And if you feel weird, like I don't know where to look, a little tip that I heard that was really helpful is don't go between eyes, back and forth. Just pick one eye and look at that eye. Because if you start going back and forth, you start getting like shifty. You start getting shifty-eyed, and you don't want that. So just pick one eye, gaze into that one, and when you're talking and when you're thinking, you can look around. If he says something interesting to you, you can say, oh, yeah, that's a really cool thing. You know, kind of looking up and around and thinking about what he's saying until you look back towards his eye. Second behavior that can make you look weird or just unattractive is talking negatively about other people, things, or situations in your life. Even if you're character assassinating politicians or celebrities, the more negative that you act on a date, the more negative the other person will feel. And oftentimes that can be translated to, I felt negative around this person. We are so blessed as humans living in 2021 in so many different ways. If you can't find things to be grateful for, if you're not focusing on the things that you're passionate about and that you love, well, then you're focused on things that aren't helping you to grow towards what you want. What we focus on gets bigger. So if you want to have a healthy, happy relationship, I encourage you, especially early on, focus on the things that light you up. Focus on the things that you're passionate about. Focus on the things that you're grateful for. And the more that you can do that, the more you're gonna make the person you're with feel good. And they're gonna wanna go out with you again. Obviously, we all have things in our life that are sad or hard, and we can share some of those, but do your best early on to focus on the positives in life, and you'll attract more positive people. Number 3, sharing too much or sharing too little. This is one of those things where you can take a cue from the person you're with. Now, typically, if we share something that's a little bit vulnerable, it is appropriate for the other person who hears the vulnerable share to share something back. And if they don't share anything, if I'm just like, oh yeah, you know, I had a really tough time in high school, I dropped out of high school, and they're just like listening, you say, oh, then it just feels judgmental. It just feels like they're judging you. But if they share something that they can relate to, oh yeah, you know, I had a tough time freshman year, or I had this or that happen. What you want to do is, if your partner is sharing something vulnerable with you, it's good to share something back that is equal to the amount of vulnerability they're sharing. You don't want someone to admit to you that they got fired from their last job and then you open up about a bunch of childhood trauma. That's just not really commensurate with one another. So you want to share equal or almost as equal to what that person is sharing with you. And if someone's really getting vulnerable, you don't have to feel a need to one-up them or to overly share. You can just listen and relate and appreciate that they're sharing that with you, but just make certain that they believe that you are also being vulnerable with them. Number 4, not asking follow-up questions. If I'm talking to someone about something and I kind of drop a little story, or I say something, and they never ask me a follow-up question. Everything I say, it's just, that's it, and then we move on. It just makes me feel like they're not interested in me. Let's just say they tell me their job, as an example. Oh, you know, I work as a computer engineer. I'd be like, cool, what do you do? What does that mean? Like, what is that? What does a computer engineer do? Oh, I just work on a medical software. What do you mean you work on it? What's your role? Or my wife, who's a school psychologist, might talk to me about her day, and I'll ask her more questions. I'll say, oh, tell me more about that specific situation, or what did that really mean? When we ask questions, it indicates that we're actually curious about wanting to know more. It's letting the person know that we're listening to them and that we're interested in what they're saying. And there really isn't a greater gift that you can give than your attention, focus, and interest. It can be awkward if we're saying things and people aren't asking us to continue. It makes people feel like they're off the mark, like they're not really sharing anything of interest or of value. So be sure to ask follow-up questions to show you're interested. Number 5, a lack of empathy. Now, this usually shows up in being judgmental about, again, other people, situations, or even the guy that you're with. And when you're on a date with someone who's just judgy McJudgerson, everything they're judging, they're like, oh, that's the worst. Oh, I can't stand that. Oh, this is... It just makes you wonder, well, wow, if they're judging other people so harshly, I wonder what they're judging me about when I'm not around. That's why the more empathetic you can be for other people, the more caring and considerate, the more that we can try to see the other perspective, then when you're not around, that person will believe that you're giving them the benefit of the doubt as well. It actually makes the date more safe for vulnerable sharing. So the less judgy McJudgerson you can be and the more open-minded and accepting you can be, you might be surprised to find that guys may be way more open to sharing with you. Number 6, talking too loudly or talking too softly. Both of those things are awkward and weird. We've all been around a loud talker. We've all been around a soft talker. So what I suggest is try to be a little bit equal, maybe even slightly softer than the person you're talking to, as long as they can hear you. What it does is it maintains a calm, cool energy and vibe where you're both connected because you're at equal volumes. And he'll tell you, if he can't hear you, for the most part, he'll start leaning in more, and you'll see him physically trying to move his ear to hear you more. So that's a good indicator that you might need to bump it up a little bit more. In terms of softness, really try to listen to his volume and try to match his energy as much as you possibly can. The more that we match energy, the more that we feel connected to the other person. There's this really kind of cool, subtle, hidden energy matching. It happens with our audio volume, but it also happens physically. If you walk into a restaurant, try looking at people that are sitting with each other. You'll find that oftentimes their physical bodies are mirroring each other. You'll see two people with their, hands on under their chins. You'll see people both looking at each other with a hand on the side of their face. It's amazing to me how much matching really does make us feel more connected. Number 7, being overly dressed up or underdressed. Now, here's a little tip that I've heard, and I really like it. If you can dress just 10% nicer than what is expected at the event that you're with. So if you're at a suit and tie and a dress event, go for like a 10% nicer dress than you might normally wear. If you're at a date at a casual restaurant, then dress casual, but think about what's a little thing that I can do just to look a little bit nicer, where I just feel like I'm dressed up just slightly nicer. Not so I stand out like I'm wearing like a black tie gown at a sports bar. Obviously, it's weird, it's awkward, it's gonna be out of place. But if you're dressed up just subtle, just slightly nicer than everyone else, people don't even realize, or they can't put their finger on why they keep looking at you. They can't put their finger on why you're so attractive. Now, if you think about these 7 tips, really pay attention to being more matching energy, to staying positive, to dressing nice, you're gonna find yourself on really great dates where you feel comfortable, where you're confident and connected to your date. No more cringy calls to your friends, oh, I can't believe I did that. It just takes practice. Now, if you've ever tried dating online, you know that online dating can be incredibly cringy, incredibly awkward. If you'd like us to walk you step by step through online dating so it's not awkward, it's actually smooth and quick and efficient, so you actually meet real quality men, click the link in the description. You'll hear a little presentation about my online dating program. Would love for you to join and see the power of online dating, especially during the holiday seasons. Everyone is going online right now. It is such a great time to try to find a great guy online. So click the link in the description. I'll see you over there, and thank you again for watching. Be well.